Okay, quick video update on where we are with the Flip Tom Penny 775 board that we looked at on the last video, which was 12 days ago now. It's been a really wet January, so haven't really had any chance to do any proper skating. So I've been out 3 times for a couple of hours each time, and we've been using an Asda car park after hours where it's reasonably dry, so you're not dealing with too much rain, too much wet, but it's not less than ideal. Really, that is winter for you. So the first time I went out, I actually went out on my old Blueprint deck, and the reason I did that, which was the same day I uploaded the video, the reason I did that was because I knew how this felt, and I wanted to sort of just get a feel for this before then trying a new deck, but also because I didn't know how wet that car park was. I didn't want to waterlog my brand new board, so for the first time out I took Blueprint out and skated that, and I had very little confidence when it came to rolling ollies and that sort of thing, so that was the first thing I needed to work on, was getting my confidence to do rolling ollies, because I've still got more pop than I ever expected to have after all these years. And this board actually had way more pop than I ever expected to have after it 19 years old. This board is. It was in the shed for a while. My bolts are rusty, and yet this board is not waterlogged. It still has pop, even though the tail is reasonably worn. The nose is not that worn. But yeah, it's had a lot of pop. So fair play Blueprint, back in the early 2000s. You obviously made some good wood. But after that first session, which was mainly just rolling around, manuals, doing some supported ollies, like holding onto a rail whilst practicing some ollies, that sort of thing, trying to get some shove-its in. That car park's so slippery. So I went and got some new wheels. So when I went out on that first session, I was using these Blueprints, which I think were 50s or 51s originally, but they're a little bit smaller now. They're about 49, and they're very narrow. And I figured that it might not be a bad idea if I go to a slightly bigger board, go to some slightly bigger wheels, just to make it a little bit more stable while I'm relearning. It will make me feel more stable, should I say, while I'm relearning and getting my confidence back up. So I went out and I got some Element 54mm 99A wheels, which, as you can see, are considerably wider and quite a bit larger too. So they roll really nice. I'm just not sure I'm that keen on such a large wheel. I think I might drop back down to a 52 and also replace that bearing, because that one sounds terrible. But generally these wheels and those bearings, even though they're very old, are rolling really well. In fact, they're actually rolling better than my mate's new ones when we first went out, but don't understand why. Probably because the bearings are shot. Yeah, so replaced with these wheels, and they did feel a bit more stable. What I also did was, when I had the Blueprint set up, I had some independent risers, some of the really thin risers. In fact, let's get some. So, some independent risers. What I did was took those out when I went to the bigger wheel, because that way it sort of lowers the centre of gravity a little bit, especially with that larger wheel, which would heighten it up a little bit. But having that wider contact patch did feel more stable to me. Although what it did have an effect on was on that Asda car park, was it's extremely slick already. Brand new wheels were like skating on ice for a day. But there we go. So then we went out for the second session on these new wheels, new board, and started getting more of a feel for it. And then my last session, which was last Thursday, so 5 days ago, all of a sudden something clicked. I wasn't really feeling the session to start with. I went out sort of forcing myself to go out with my mate, but when I got out there, it suddenly clicked, and I was able to have the confidence to moving ollies. I then relearned front side 180s, and now I'm starting to relearn my heel flips, my variable heels. So I'm quite happy with that, in the fact that suddenly in one day I started to progress, and essentially I've gone in 5 hours of skating the last 25 years. I went from not being able to ollie to being able to ollie to front side 180, and also getting some heel flips in as well. So that's good. This shows progression, and as long as I see progression each time and get some exercise, I will be happy. I did have to relearn, not just myself, but also a new board. When I put this flip board on, it's considerably different. I didn't realise just how different it was to the Blueprint. So I think what I will do is sort of show you the differences. So if I put my Blueprint on top, it's very hard. You won't really see a difference, but you can see that the Blueprint's shorter. In actual fact, it's quite a lot shorter. So, 30.65 in length, whereas the flip is just shy of 32, 31.75 in length. Obviously the board width is different. As I said, this one's a 775, which is actually just over 775. The Blueprint was only a 365. It's a really tiny little plank. But the biggest difference, the real learning one, so if we go for the nose, so this one's got a 7-inch nose. This one is a 6.5-inch nose. But the major difference, and the one that made a massive difference to me relearning my moving ollies, was the tail. So the flip is 6.75, nearly 7, whereas the Blueprint is a shade over 6 on the tail. So that meant I've got an extra inch of tail where I didn't have it. So when I was relearning my ollies, and also with the new grip, the Mob grip's really sticky. I've always ollied from the pocket on my traditional boards. Now, having a longer tail, when I was doing that, it was putting the board into heel flip, even though I could move my foot all the way over to the other side of the board, and somehow the board would still flip in a heel flip. So I only countered that by actually moving my foot further up the tail, so I'm actually ollieing from this part of the tail instead of further down here, which is where I always was able to ollie from before. Obviously the geometry of when that tail's hitting is different on this than it was on the Blueprint, so that took quite a lot. Also the nose is a lot rounder and the tail's a lot rounder on this than it was before, but there's some progression going, so happy with that. May move on to, like I said, some 52mm wheels. I'll probably get some new bearings at some point. I'm not going to worry just yet because it's still shit weather. But I will in the summer get some Bones Reds or something. I did get some new bolts, just because my originals were a little bit rusty. Not too bad, but I got £2.50 for just some basic sushi bolts, which are Allen keys, which I like. May as well pick some up whilst I was picking up the wheels. That's what I did. I've also, strangely enough, got another board coming. A board graphic that I used to skate 20 odd years ago, 25 plus years ago. My favourite graphic, I had 3. I've asked a guy who does screen printing, which is the old way of putting a graphic on a board, if he will screen print that old graphic onto a modern 775 shape for me, just for nostalgia's purpose. I'm going to probably get 2 of them, one to skate and one to keep on the wall, and that's coming. So when that lands, I may switch to that for a little while, but we'll see how it goes. But yeah, I'll do another update soon, and hopefully it'll be some good news. I did say to my mate the other day that I think I need a slam before I can progress much further, but we'll see. Hopefully we get some good weather and we get to have some decent sessions. It's nothing too crazy. But some good sessions on the straight would be great. Alright, thanks for listening. Catch you all soon. Bye bye.